This is Myra Elaine from the Buying Space channel. Today I'm reading to you from the Torah, which sounds awesome, but really it's the first 5 books of the Old Testament or of the entire Bible. On this side of the Torah you have the Hebrew, and on this side is the English translated directly from the Hebrew. And this book goes backwards, so when I'm reading, instead of turning the page this way, I'll turn the page this way. And I'll continue to turn the page this way until I get to, well, this isn't strictly a Torah because right here they have selected books of the Old Testament in here too. And then they have something called the Haft. Era of Sabbat Zayor, which I don't know if that's the bar mitzvah portion. Here's one for morning service. So there's more than just the Torah in this Jewish Bible. But if it just had the Torah that they have on the scrolls, you know, at the front of the synagogue, or that the rabbi reads from, it would just be the first 5 books of the Bible. So maybe I shouldn't call it a Torah. But, you know, anyone that wants to be technical on me out there, leave it in the comments. I will probably read it. I don't have to like it or put a heart on it if it's critical, but I may respond to it, I may not. But anyway, here we go. Genesis chapter 14. And it came to pass in the days of Amraphel, king of Shinar, Anak, king of Elasar, Kedorlaomer, king of Elam, and Tidal, king of Goyim, that these made war with Bera, king of Sodom, and with Bersha, king of Gomorrah, Sinai, king of Adam, and Shimber, king of Zebulun, and the king of Bela, which is Zor. All these joined together in the vale of Siddim, which is now the Salt Sea. Imagine that's called the Dead Sea today. 12 years had they served Kedorlaomer, who in the 13th year they rebelled. And in the 14th year came Kedorlaomer and the kings that were with him, and they smote Rehoboam in Ashtaroth Karnaim, and Zoom in Ham, and Elam in Shaval Latham, and the Horites, Horites, in their mountain Sur and El Paran, by which is by the wilderness. And they returned and came to Eliphat, which is Kadesh, and smote all of the country of the Amalekites, and also Amorites, and dwell in Hazazon Tamar. And there went out the king of Sodom, and the king of Gomorrah, and the king of Adam, and the king of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, the same is Zorah, and they set the battle in array against them in the vale of Siddim, with Kedorlaomer, king of Elam, and with Tidal, king of Goyim, and Ephrael, king of Shinar, and Allah, king of Elasar, the 4 kings against 5. Wow, this is quite the scene. Big battle between all these kingdoms on the earth, the known populated earth of biblical times. There were probably civilizations elsewhere at the same time, but they had this big battle. I didn't know there were kings of Sodom and Gomorrah, because I always thought of Sodom and Gomorrah as one large city. And the vale of Bidom was full of slime pits, and the king of Sodom and Gomorrah fled, and fell therein, and they that remained fled to the mountain. And they took all the goods of Sodom and Gomorrah, and all their victuals, and went away. And they took Lot, Abraham's brother, who dwelt in Sodom, and his goods, and departed. And there came one that had escaped, and told it to Abram the Hebrew. Now he dwelt in the grove of Mamre, the Amorite, brother of Eshau, the brother of Aner, and those that were confederates of Abraham. And when Abraham heard that his brother was taken captive, he armed his trained servants, born in his own house, 318, and pursued them unto Dan. I wonder how long Abraham and Lot had been separated at this point. It could have been months, it could have been years, it could have been decades, because people lived a long time back then. But it didn't matter to him, because that was his brother. And he divided himself against them, and he and his servants, by night, and smote them, and pursued them to Habah, which is on the left hand of Damascus. And he brought back all the goods, and he also brought again his brother Lot, and his goods, and also the women and people. And the king of Sodom went out to meet him after his return from smiting Kedorlaomer, and the kings that were with him in the valley of Shavah, which is the king's dale. So all the kings the king of Sodom had fought against were looking at Abraham as this huge hero, because he took a relatively small force against an entire city and came back with his brother and all of his goods, and restored his brother's wealth, and obtained more wealth for himself, the spoils of war, so to speak. And Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought forth bread and wine, and he was a priest of the Most High God. And he blessed them, and said, Blessed be Abraham of the Most High God, the possessor of heaven and earth. Now, the Most High God over here is probably going to be pronounced Yahweh. And blessed be the Most High God. I already said that. And the king of Sodom said to Abram, Give me the persons and the goods. Take thys to thyself. And Abraham said to the king of Sodom, I have lifted up my hand unto the Lord, the Most High God, the possessor of heaven and earth, that I will not take from a thread, even from a shoelacet, and that I will not take anything that is thine, lest thou shouldn't say, I have made Abraham rich, save only that which the young men have eaten, and the portions of the men who went with me, Aner, Eshel, and Mamre. These may take their portion. So Abraham, after he defeated this entire city, the king of Sodom, he came back and they had a feast for him. And the priest king said to him, "Take which is thine." And he, being the hero of the battle, said, "No, here are my partners over here, my 3 partners. They get their portion. But I don't want for anyone to say that I got rich from this battle. In other words, I want to be a man that's known that I have earned everything I have, and I haven't gotten rich over rescuing my brother." I mean, actually, he did earn it, but in a different way than people normally earned what they had back then. So I'm so impressed that he has the willpower and the discipline and the morals to say no to wealth, because he wasn't about money. How many people these days would do something like this just to maintain their reputation? And no one, well, I won't say no one. Well, actually, no one would blame him. He just didn't want to be known for obtaining his wealth through the spoils of war. That's outstanding morals. I mean, I don't know of anyone these days that would do that had the right to take riches and would turn it down because the possibility of ruining their reputation. I mean, we all do like rumor control these days. It's impossible with YouTube. And Facebook is like a bunch of teenagers. I mean, YouTube is too, a lot of times too. And people will make up stuff about you that's not even true. But here, back in the day, Abraham was his name later. It was like he didn't want to do evil. He didn't even want the appearance of evil. And he didn't even want to do something that would cause other people to diminish his reputation, his godliness, his goodness. Is there anyone left on the planet like that? Why has not God taken us all out at this point? Because we are so far from the example of Father Abraham that no one is recognizable next to this hero. Okay. Have a good day, everyone.